Sunday Surefire podcast. I'm your host, the Commish. Joining me today is the co-host, Aaron Downtown Brown,
Hey, hey.
and the other co-host, Ethan Weaver.
Kamish, how we doing?
We are doing, my man. We are talking some Thursday night football. Getting week two underway here, doing it right. Got a divisional matchup here, an AFC East clash between the Buffalo Bills, who are visiting the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about the game itself, how we think it's going to go, and then we're going to talk about a DraftKings DFS lineup. You know the drill here, boys. We've been doing this every week here for the last few years now at this point, but for the listeners, maybe it's your first time in here. What we do is we talk about, like I said, the game itself, and then we talk about which captain's lineup you should be setting, which player you should be putting in your captain spot, and we also talk one bargain player, guy that's around $6,000 or less that you can sneak into your lineup. And obviously, the captain's the big driving force of this game, so we spend a chunk of time on that too. How the captain's lineup works, for those who don't know, is you you're the guy that you designate as your captain gets you 1.5 times the points in your lineup, but you also have to pay 1.5 times their normal cost in order to get them into your captain slot. So got to be careful of who you choose there. But let's start on with the game itself here. Miami is opening as a minus 2.5 point favorite in this one. The over is currently sitting at 49 points. So I guess Ethan, we're AFC East fans of the Patriots, the 1-0 New England Patriots, if
Yeah.
I don't say so myself. And well, I guess Aaron, Ethan, what do you think about this game, and how do you see it playing out?
I mean, what a week to start off week two. I mean, Miami, Buffalo. Obviously for us fantasy managers, we're hoping for an offensive explosion. That very well could be the case. I do think the Bills are gonna take down Miami. Um, Josh Allen, the guy is just so good. He just puts the team on his back. It doesn't matter who's out there running routes at receiver or tight end. I mean, Josh Allen's just going to do his thing. So it's hard to bet against him. But yeah, so just looking forward to a good Thursday night AFC East showdown. And like you said, the Patriots are 1-0, so we're fighting for it. We're fighting.
We're fighting. We're in the fight. We'll see how it goes. Well, it's week to week now in New England, but it was a good start. Uh, Aaron, what do you think about this game from the outside looking in?
Yeah, likewise. I mean, I think this is definitely a great Thursday night game. I think Bills Dolphins is definitely fun. Obviously for fantasy managers, there's a lot of people with that's going to be watching that just for the fantasy. But yeah, just real football as well. This is, I guess from the betting front, it's always a fun game where I think you can take a team and take the over. So I like so you mentioned it's 49 points currently on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm gonna go the other way. Actually, I'm gonna go taking the 2.5 points with Miami, and I like the over. So anytime I can bet a team and the over, makes it fun to watch, whether you hit or not. But Miami's defense did impress me. I think that Jacksonville Miami game last week we thought was going to just be high scoring, high flying offenses, but it was really a defensive game, and especially Miami's run defense. And if you looked at the other side of the ball, Bills, the only thing they could really do actually was the running game, which you thought was going to be in reverse. So yes, I know it's Josh Allen and and what he can do. And yes, he can run the ball as well, but I think Miami's run defense looked pretty good. And they already have strong corners. So we saw what they could do to our boy Christian Kirk. So I think, with the wide receivers, we saw what Mahomes struggled with last year, and I think, we may be getting signs that Allen might be struggling with that this year. But I like Miami in the over.
Okay, I'm halfway with you. I like Miami in this one too on a short week, and both teams had tough wins in week one coming from behind, and these division games, as we know, they're always tight. So the 2.5 point spread feels right. Um, so I think Miami pulls this one out by a field goal. But I actually like the under in this one, believe it or not. I know it's fun to root for points and an over and all that, but we're closing in on 50 points here. It's currently at 49, so I actually do like the under. Thursday night football can be sloppy, as especially now this is the first real Thursday night game where the teams are coming off a game, both of them playing on Sunday. So I think it's a touch high this over under. So I like Miami to cover and the under in this one. So those are our thoughts on the game itself. That's how we think it's going to go. But let's get to the meat of this exercise here, boys. Let's go to our captains lineups here. Ethan, we'll start with you. Who's going in your captain slot this week that's going to hit big for us?
I'm going to go with a guy that I just talked about in Josh Allen with a price point of $16,500. Like I said, he kind of put the team on his back last week. He had 232 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and then had another 9 rushes for 39 yards and another 2 scores. Josh Allen, I mean, when they get to the goal line, he's gonna put the team on his back and he's gonna do his thing. So I just think he's the best player on the field, and he's arguably the safest player on the field. So I'm okay spending up on a guy like Josh Allen just because I think he's gonna blow up in fantasy just like he does every week.
Yeah, it's an expensive price point for a captain, but it's Josh Allen, and he even without the new weapons, he proved that he can still get it done in week one. That's for sure. Aaron, are you spending that much on your captain, or are you going a little cheaper?
Definitely going cheaper. I mean, you can't go wrong with Allen, and obviously, if your lineup pays off or you got some cheap guys, then hey, that can hit for you. But I'm gonna go with one of his targets, with which is a guy I was very upset over in week one. But I'm going right back to the well with Kincaid. He's 10,800 this week. As I mentioned, we all know Miami has good corners. In 2023, they ran man about 34% of the time. Kincaid actually excelled against zone. So you got about a 70-30 split there, roughly, which, knowing that, I kind of like that against man and zone looks, right? So as we know, when they're in man, I think they're going to lock down Buffalo's wide receivers, which really should open up the game for Kincaid. If they're in zone, I mean that's what Kincaid specializes in anyways, finding those creases in the zone. So I'm really hoping for a lot of looks Kincaid's way. Where I think Miami's going to score and Buffalo's got to keep up. So I'm really hoping Kincaid owners like a week two performance much more than his week one.
Ethan, is Kincaid going to pay off this week?
No, he's not. No, I mean, no, I it's tough to kind of go back to that well a week after he just went what did he go? He went
Like
1 for 11. So only on 2 targets, and he played 83.6% of the snaps. So he was out there. I think he played of all the pass catchers on the field, he played the most snaps, and he only had 2 looks. I don't know why. I didn't break down the all 22s yet, but it's hopefully it's going to be a bounce back week for Dalton Kincaid. I just think I'd rather just pay up and get a guy that's I know is going to score points in Josh Allen. And at that 1.5x, I mean he could absolutely blow up. So that's why I paid up for Josh Allen, just because I don't really trust anybody, any of the pass catchers right now in Buffalo, just because it's only week 2. It's a short week too, and it looks like it is like Keon Coleman, Mac Hollins, and Shakir. I mean, Curtis Samuel only played 17 snaps, so that's the Buffalo offense. Cook also had 19 carries, which I was surprised how many carries he got. But I think Josh Allen is the engine that keeps that team going. So hopefully Kincaid, for all of us fantasy managers who have him, hopefully he bounces back. But I think I'd go in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting slate this week for the Thursday night game. I mean, Allen is a beast, but it's hard to pin down which pass catcher. So Aaron's trying to thread the needle there, which in a tournament play could pay off for you. I'll say
Yeah.
that. But I went pretty Miami heavy in my lineup here personally too. So which would be no surprise to find out that my captain is a Dolphin, and I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle. $12,900. Coming off a strong week one performance, caught all 5 of his targets for 109 yards. Didn't find the end zone in that one, but decent usage considering he missed a chunk of time in the game while being evaluated for a concussion. Returned to the game later, and I think at 12,900, it allows me to get both quarterbacks into my lineup, and I had to go a little bit cheaper down the road to be able to do that too, but just enough flexibility here if you pop Waddle into your captain spot to build out a lineup where you can get both starting quarterbacks in there. But speaking, I guess we'll get to our cheaper plays in a second. Any thoughts on Waddle before we move on to who the cheap guys are for this Thursday night matchup?
I love the Waddle call. I mean, I said it last week. I think Waddle has just as much upside as any receiver in the league. This offense is explosive. I mean, any play, it could be Tyreek Hill, it could be Jalen Waddle. So he's a guy that he had a really good week one. I was a little nervous. I got updates that he was out of the game on all my fantasy platforms, and then all of a sudden I see him scoring points. So I'm like, okay, at least he's scoring points there. But no, I like Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to be kind of steal where we were able to draft him in redraft leagues, and I'm very excited for Jalen Waddle this year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't mind the Waddle play. I think as Ethan said, you can just flip a coin if it's going to be a Tyreek or Waddle play on that offense. So yeah, I mean that's the thing is it's somewhat of a gamble because it could just be an explosive Tyreek game, but I think last week showed you can have both receivers blow up and it's fine. And hopefully the Bills leave him wide open as Marvin Harrison was last week on that final drive.
Woof.
I know.
Woof. It's going to be a long day for Buffalo if that's the case. I'll say that. But let's talk about the nitty gritty here. Let's get really cheap here with our bargain plays here, guys. Who are those under the radar guys that are gonna at least make somewhat of a difference for you in lineups this Thursday night?
Yeah, I went with a Buffalo Bill, little stack with Josh Allen here. I went with Keon Coleman. He's $5,800, and he led all receivers outside Kincaid with snaps, with routes run and targets. So uh, in a Josh Allen-led offense, I'll take that. He has the best profile of any other receiver in that room. I think he should emerge as the season goes on as the alpha. Like I just said, we're talking about here Mac Hollins, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, MVS. I mean, Keon Coleman should be the number one there sooner than later. And in week one, he was number one across the board in the stats I just talked about. So I'm gonna go back to the well. Hopefully he can get a touchdown. I get that nice Allen to Keon Coleman stack here.
There you go. That's a good one. I mean, he's if you can afford him in there, then and you should do that. Especially, I like that more in a tournament too. If you're going Josh Allen as your captain, you're just stacking him in there. Hopefully, he catches a touchdown, and then that off one play, you're giving yourself a big advantage there. So I like to call it there on my side.
Yeah, I like that too. As I mentioned, I mean, if the Bills take a page out of the Chiefs book from last year, I think it took them a while to figure out that Rice was a good wide receiver for him in that offense. I mean, I guess it just depends how quick they want to just implement him as one of the main guys. I think they're really trying to see who's really going to emerge, and that didn't work out too well for the Chiefs last year. You really got to just pick your guys right out the gates. But yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go. I had a little bit of a hard time figuring out who my bargain play was my cheapest play. I'm actually going the Miami defense here. As I said, I thought their defense looked pretty good against Jacksonville, as we mentioned that we thought it was going to be high score and all that, and like I said, their corners, I think, have a really good chance to lock down every single one of those Buffalo Bills wide receivers. So I'm kind of looking for a mistake that Josh Allen has been known to do, with being he gives up a lot or he scores a lot of touchdowns, but he does throw picks too. So I'm kind of hoping for like a pick six or a couple turnovers from him as well. So that's who I'm going with my bargain play of the week.
Ethan, as someone who has Josh Allen as their captain and Keon Coleman as their bargain player, tell me how much you dislike that call.
I mean, I don't love it. I don't know. I think whenever you're playing a defense against Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, you're rolling the dice here. I mean, you're basically essentially banking on like a pick six. You need that pick six. You need a fumble return for a touchdown. You need something like that because I don't think Josh Allen is gonna make the amount of mistakes necessary for the Dolphins to give you a real advantage in your lineup. So for those reasons, I'm kind of out on Miami. I just in a matchup like this when the over under is 49. I don't think Vegas is expecting a lot of defense to be played.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, the interesting thing is like Allen does throw interceptions. I mean, he threw 18 last year, he threw 14 the year before that, but he's so freaking good that he comes down and just kind of erases that quickly. So I mean, it's a bold call, Aaron. I'll say that, and I shouldn't really blast it because my next call here is pretty bold too, at least for the price point. I'm gonna get real dirty with this one,
Oh
real nice and
God.
cheap. I'm going pay by the hour motel cheap here. I'm gonna go Jeff Wilson Jr.
Oh boy. Ooh.
$2,400 to get him in your lineup. So almost nothing. With both A Chain and Mostert listed as non-participants in Monday and Tuesday's practice estimates. They're not actually practicing with the game on a Thursday, but they were both listed non-participants, both nursing injuries already heading into week two. I think he sort of has that ability to come in here and be that guy that he's been in the past for fantasy purposes, where he has that one or two big games out of nowhere every year. And I think it's a nice low cost gamble to see that if in week two that if he can be that guy who comes in and it gives his team a little bit of a spark, maybe he hits a home run on a touchdown, a long run or something like that. You never know. But I think with Jalen Wright inactive on for game day for week one, it's pretty clear that Jeff Wilson's third in line for touches in this backfield right now. And if Achane and or Mostert are both limited, we know that they like to run multiple backs out there, and it could be the week that Jeff Wilson gets his for basically nothing from a cost standpoint.
You better hope Mostert or A-Chain are limited because I mean he only played 11 snaps last week, so that might be a big goose egg in your lineup if that doesn't come to fruition.
Oh,
Ooh,
he'll get at least 1 point.
Ethan and his goose eggs. Don't put that curse on Kamish there, Ethan. You already did that to my beloved Hardman. But no,
And
I
and
can't.
that's why you're getting help with Harmon. We're getting you help, Aaron.
All right, all right. I guess if it's an intervention, I might take it. But yeah, I can't say I love it, but I mean, I guess that was eye-opening. You know, I saw that as well. I know we love our Jalen Wright in Dynasty, but yeah, I mean it's a home run shot, like you said, Kamish. And I think in tournament play, if they wind up with a touchdown, that's all the difference of scoring a little bit more money. So I guess my only advice is maybe make another lineup with him not in it as well.
I mean,
But
eh,
try it out in tournaments for sure.
I mean with that hourly rate, you're not even sleeping in the hotel room. You're in the parking lot with that one.
Probably rather sleep in the parking lot than in that hotel room. But yeah, it's dirt. Like I said, it's downright dirty. It
Oh,
doesn't
that's
feel
dirty.
good, but you know what? Well,
Shower.
every now and again, those cheap hotels work out. So hopefully this is the week where Jeff Wilson pans out. That's our quick hitting episode on Thursday Night Football and the captains lineups on DraftKings. Make sure you're checking us out there and hitting that subscribe button so you're not missing any Sunday Surefire content that we have coming down the pike, folks. And until next time, peace.